Hey everybody, just a quick note before starting today's video. WrestlingBios.com is now live. The site is pretty bare bones at the moment. It's very basic with just some RSS feeds coming in from the YouTube channel and Twitter, but over time the site will expand with new content. It's just with the way YouTube is today, I thought it would be best to give you guys another place to find me if anything were to happen to the channel. So bookmark the website and check in for updates. Thanks guys, and I hope you enjoy today's video. Back in 1996, when Dwayne Johnson made his professional wrestling debut, no one could have imagined how successful the man would become, both as a wrestler and eventually as a Hollywood actor. Before Rocky Maivia made his way into a WWF ring, we were told on TV that this new third generation athlete had potential, he was ready to take the WWF by storm, and he would do so at the 1996 Survivor Series. Rocky Maivia's debut in Madison Square Garden went as well as one could hope. He got a good reaction from the New York audience, but in the space of just a few months, things began going downhill rapidly for the future Great One. Let's take a look at these early months in The Rock's career, a period of time with ups and downs for the young Dwayne Johnson. Dwayne grew up in a wrestling family. His father was the soul man Rocky Johnson, and his mother was High Chief Peter Maivia's daughter, so both literally and figuratively, wrestling was in Dwayne's blood. Rock said, "Growing up in a wrestling family was incredibly influential to me. I fell in love with the business. At 3 or 4 years old, I was at the matches. I remember being 4 years old and being in the Dallas Sportatorium, seeing the Von Erichs and seeing my dad working there, so my memories are strong. I grew up loving wrestling. I grew up on the road, and at that time there were territories all over the country, so we were constantly moving every year or year and a half. Growing up in the business and having love for the business made it easy for me." Dwayne took his naturally gifted athletic ability and applied it to the football field, taking on a full scholarship from the University of Miami, where he mainly played as a defensive tackle. 1991 saw Dwayne join the Miami Hurricanes national championship team, but a number of injuries led to Dwayne getting replaced in the starting lineup. After graduating, Dwayne signed with the Calgary Stampeders in the CFL, but he was cut 2 months into the season. Rock says that his footballing days were extremely important to him though. He learned how to set team and individual goals during this time period. He also realised during this time that there was absolutely no substitute for hard work. After being cut from the CFL and after contemplating his future, Dwayne decided to pursue his first love, which was wrestling. Dwayne's father tried to discourage him at first. Rocky Johnson knew all too well that life on the road was tough. Dwayne, though, was adamant. He wanted to give wrestling a shot, and eventually his father agreed to train him. Rocky Johnson told his son that he won't train him to 100%, he would train him to 200%. He wouldn't go easy on his son, and Dwayne would get trained the hard way. Dwayne was trained in Miami, mainly inside a boxing ring that had no give, but he did stick it out. And when his dad felt he was ready, Dwayne reached out to Pat Patterson to inquire about a job with the WWE. Pat Patterson and Rocky Johnson had a special relationship going back to the 70s and early 80s, and it was thanks to this relationship that Dwayne was able to get his foot in the WWF door. Pat Patterson met with Dwayne, and instantly Patterson told Vince McMahon that he needs to take a look at this kid. Dwayne was brought to Stamford, he got signed, and Dr. Tom Pritchard has been credited as the man who showed Rock how to work WWF style matches. So let's take a look at the very first matches we have for Rock then on a professional level. The first two matches we have for Dwayne happened in March of 1996 on back-to-back dates. On the 10th he defeated the Brooklyn Brawler in his very first pro match, and the next night Dwayne was handed his first defeat by Skip of the Body Donnas, better known by his real name Chris Candido. Notable here is Dwayne worked using his real name, and Dwayne himself has also confirmed that the Brooklyn Brawler was indeed his very first opponent. The Skip vs Dwayne Johnson match can be found on the WWE Network. After these matches, Dwayne was sent to the USWA in Memphis to gain more experience working in front of an audience and in front of cameras. In the USWA, Dwayne won the tag titles with partner Bart Sawyer. The pair would remain a tag team throughout most of Dwayne's USWA stint from June 1996 to August 96, while in the USWA, Dwayne worked as Flex Kavana. If you want to see Flex Kavana's work in the USWA, I highly recommend checking out Pop Culture Stu's YouTube channel. Stu has one of the best USWA archives on YouTube, and he's uploaded plenty of Flex Kavana videos that you can check out right now. The Flex Kavana name came over to the WWF towards the end of August, competing in two dark matches on Raw and Superstars, again on back-to-back nights. Flex defeated David Haskins in a Raw dark match, and on Superstars, Flex was defeated by Owen Hart. Next up, it was time for The Rock's WWF television debut, and it would happen in Madison Square Garden at the Survivor Series 1996 pay-per-view. The pressure here must have been immense. The WWF were taking a gamble here by throwing Dwayne out there to the smart yet vocal New York audience. This was really a sink or swim moment for Dwayne Johnson. Just before we get to the Survivor Series, I should mention that the WWF hyped Dwayne's debut quite a bit on TV, letting us know that this blue chipper and rookie sensation would be making his way to the Survivor Series to try and make a name for himself. If these vignettes aired a year or two later, The Rock would have been torn to shreds during his debut, but for whatever reason, the New York audience were quite receptive of Dwayne when he walked into the ring at the Garden. Dwayne took on the names of both his father and grandfather, and Rocky Maivia was born. An incredible amount of talent was involved in Rock's debut Survivor Series match, with the likes of Barry Windham, Jerry Lawler, Triple H, Jake Roberts and Goldust all sharing the ring with Rocky Maivia during this match. Rocky was the sole survivor for his team, finishing the match by eliminating both Crush and Goldust, putting Goldust away with his finishing move, the dreaded shoulder breaker. So here we had this clean-cut babyface with an extraordinary heritage. Rocky Maivia's next match was also his televised Raw debut, going up against Salvatore Sincere the night after Survivor Series and also picking up the win. Sonny was at the commentary desk for both the Survivor Series match and this match on Raw, and it looked like the WWF were going to do a story here where Sonny wanted to make Rocky her next client. The Rock would continue working with Salvatore Sincere then in December. Their next meeting happened during the Free-For-All show for In Your House It's Time, and the two squared off again the night following this In Your House show. Rocky won both matches, but during the Raw showdown, Sonny was again at the commentary desk. Sonny announced that she wants Rocky Maivia, and whatever Sonny wants, Sonny gets, apparently. On the January 13th, 1997 edition of Raw, Rocky Maivia defeated Davey Boy Smith via countout in a decent match. Bret Hart was on commentary this time, and he put Rocky over quite a bit during the showdown. It seemed then at this point that the whole Sonny angle had been dropped. Next up was the 1997 Royal Rumble, and before getting there, Rocky scored wins over the fake Razor Ramon and Hunter Hearst Helmsley on Shotgun Saturday Night. At the Royal Rumble, Rocky entered at number 25, however he was eliminated by Mankind. A month after the Royal Rumble, Rocky Maivia won the Intercontinental title in a match against Hunter Hearst Helmsley on the special Thursday Raw Thursday show on the 13th of February. This was really the first time that fans began booing Rocky Maivia, however, something that frustrated Dwayne quite a bit backstage. The clean-cut babyface was out there winning matches with a big smile on his face, while an anti-hero like Stone Cold Steve Austin was getting really good crowd support going into his match with Bret Hart at WrestleMania 13. Times were changing in the WWF for sure, and Rocky Maivia would be one of the first casualties of this new outlook. Hunter Hearst Helmsley got a rematch against Rocky at In Your House Final 4, and even though Rocky won this match, the crowd here again gave The Rock a lukewarm reception. The next night, Rocky Maivia defended the IC title against Leif Cassidy, a match that The Rock won, but nobody cared. Rocky's next big feud was against the Sultan, better known as Fatu or Rikishi, and after the Sultan tried to attack Rocky a few times on Raw, the pair met at WrestleMania 13. After Rocky won the match, Bob Backlund and the Iron Sheik attacked the future Great One, leading to Rocky Johnson jumping into the ring to help out his son. The Rock and Rocky Johnson shared a moment in the ring here at WrestleMania, quite cool to look back on now, but at the time, we have to admit it, nobody really cared all that much. Still, the Sultan had no real likeable qualities, so the crowd were behind Rocky here by default. After Mania, Rocky's next match on Raw was another victory over Leif Cassidy. Then on the 31st of March 1997, Rocky faced Bret Hart in an IC title match. An interesting match here, Bret had just turned heel, and the fans weren't all too fond of Rocky Maivia. What ended up happening here really was the fans chanted USA, they booed Bret, and Rocky was just there to have the match. Not really a reaction at all here for Rocky, fans were too wrapped up with the whole Bret Hart heel turn. Still, it's a decent main event match here, the pace does quicken up nicely in the final 3 minutes or so, and the match ended when Steve Austin ran down to attack the Hitman. Rocky successfully defended the IC title against the Nation of Domination's Savio Vega at In Your House Revenge of the Taker, but he dropped the title to Owen Hart on the April 28th episode of Raw. This Owen vs Rocky match was good, definitely worth a watch. From here, Rocky went into In Your House, A Cold Day in Hell to meet Mankind in the ring, and again, nobody could have cared less about Rocky Maivia. I think Rock was paired with Mankind here in hopes that his more rugged and tough side could maybe come out. Mankind was great at getting this out of people, thanks really to Mick's willingness to absorb punishment, but the fans again just didn't care. When Mankind got Rocky in the mandible claw, the crowd popped and Mankind picked up the victory. Mick Foley himself said that this was the biggest babyface reaction he had gotten up to this point in the WWF, even though he was working as a heel. Rock also picked up an injury during this match to his knee, but he continued working in the weeks that followed. Rocky had a main event match against Farouk on the May 19th episode of Monday Night Raw, and Farouk soundly defeated The Rock in the middle of the ring. Nation members Savio Vega and Crush attempted to beat up Rocky after the match, but Farouk ordered both men to stop and leave Rocky alone. After working with Flash Funk the following week, Rock took some time off to heal the knee injury suffered in the Mankind match. While Rocky was gone, Farouk had been rebuilding the Nation of Domination, and he decided to kick Ahmed Johnson out of the group. On the August 11th, 1997 episode of Raw then, Nation leader Farouk had a match against the DOA's Chains. When the ref got knocked out, Rocky Maivia returned, he hit the ring and he delivered a rock bottom on Chains. So Farouk got the win, Rocky Maivia turned heel and he joined the Nation of Domination, taking Ahmed Johnson's spot here. It really did need to happen by this point. The fans were so tired of the Rocky Maivia project. Turning heel was the only thing that could have helped here. As we all know, it was the right move and things would turn out quite well for the rookie sensation in the upcoming months. The Rock talked about this time in his career, and he summed it up quite well when he said, "In the WWE at the time, there was an incredible shift that was happening that changed the face of the business into the Attitude Era. A guy called Stone Cold Steve Austin came along who fans started to gravitate towards. Austin was all about attitude, and fans naturally went towards that. As he was on the rise, here I was, the Intercontinental Champion, this guy who was happy even when I lost. Here's the thing, you can design something to go a certain way, but at the end of the day, whether it's the golden era in wrestling or the attitude era or the PG era, if you're not authentic, then you're done. I was told to go out there and smile, even when I was losing. I had to be happy to be there, and the fans saw right through it. The Rock then was able to be more authentic as a heel. He was eventually given more mic time, and the rest is history. I've already covered the Nation previously, and that video goes into The Rock's time in the faction also, so I will end this upload here, and of course, I'll come back to The Rock another time. I'd like to go into further detail in regards to Rocky's time in the Nation. The previous video was more of an overview of the entire faction, and it's also an earlier video that I feel I could improve on. So look out for more Rock uploads on the channel in the coming months. Thank you for watching.